A young girl is drying her futons in the garden of her house while thinking about how she never experienced the feeling of sleeping in a real bed. Even though she keeps her futons properly clean by washing and drying them in the bright sun, she still never sleeps on a futon that was laid on the bed. Just thinking about the bed makes her excited and curious about how it will finally be when she finally gets a chance to sleep properly. Inside the room, she is in deep thought when someone calls her, forcing her to come back to reality. She quickly apologizes for spacing out while the other girl just takes out her hand from under the quilt, saying that she is too tired to go out again today. The girl instantly understands the instructions and starts getting ready for the day. When she returns to the room after freshening up, the girl from under the quilt asks her about breakfast. She starts listing all the items available for breakfast, including Japanese white rice, salmon fillet, and miso soup, but is interrupted when the other girl finally sits up in bed, telling her to stop. She comments how it must be amazing that she can get rid of all the pain by just letting out some blood. The first girl doesn't say anything in reply, just silently agreeing with her. Once she is ready for school, she returns to the young girl who is back under her quilt and asks her about her smartphone. After taking the cell phone from her, the girl tells her to be careful while she is away and then leaves the house. While traveling to the school, the girl's thoughts are swirling around how she is just a replica of the girl named Sono Aikawa. When Sono was just 7 years old, she created her own replica that looked exactly like her and even had a similar voice. As a replica, her job is to attend school in place of the original Sono. No one at the school has figured that she is just a copy of another girl, and the real Sono is sleeping peacefully in her room. There is no way that they will ever find out about this secret. The replica Sono packs her bag after the class ends and is planning to go to her club when she notices that today is her turn to clean the blackboard. To fulfill her duty, she cleans the board when someone from behind says that he will help her or else it will be a difficult task. Suno looks to the side and finds her classmate, Sanada, standing there. She is worried that he will be busy with his basketball club, but Sanada assures her that he is not attending any club right now. When she keeps staring at him, Sanada tells her to focus on cleaning instead of talking, and Sunao quickly returns to the task at hand. Once they are finished cleaning, Sanada quickly leaves the classroom, ignoring Suno's hesitantly murmured thank you. Soon Sunao is standing alone in the classroom and is thinking about how Sanada helped her clean the board when she was struggling to do it on her own. Looking into Suno's memories, she can tell that Sanada returned to school just 2 days ago, and since he is an expert at cleaning the blackboard, her cleaning duty ended very well. Suno feels bad about getting help from Sanada since she can't recall if she visited him in the hospital. Soon after that, she finally goes to her literature club, where her junior Richin welcomes her. Richin instantly points out how she feels like saying morning is very formal. Sunao argues that hello will look more reserved, and it is still not time for a good evening. Richin simply agrees with her and then changes the topic, asking Sunao to read the story she is currently working on. Taking the pages from her, Sunao silently reads them for a few minutes until Richin approaches her and asks her opinion on a specific part. She says that it must be difficult for everyone to understand because it is polysemous and asks if she should write something else instead. Sunao asks if, by writing the double, she is pointing at something that has two sides. Richin replies that she is right and continues that she feels like saying doppelganger is not appropriate because, in this case, the person doesn't die instantly after seeing their original. While reading the story, Suno just keeps thinking about the part where it mentions having another duplicate figure who has a separate identity. Rikin is nervously waiting for her feedback and asks to be told everything because she doesn't want Suno to think badly about her. Agreeing with her request, Sunao slams the papers on the table and says that it will be a little difficult for the readers to understand this. She shares her detailed opinion with Richin, who seems satisfied with the feedback and tells her to read again some other time. Suno then asks her if the clubs will take a break from the next week, to which Richin replies that she is right. She then asks her junior if she will still visit the club room, and Richin replies that the club room is the best place for the study. Soon she goes back to fussing over the story, complaining how she can't find a good name for her female lead. Suddenly recalling something, she asks Nao Senpai if she has ever written a novel in her life. A little sheepish, Suno tells her that she doesn't have any talent for writing, while thinking about how she will never be able to write anything under any circumstances. It makes her wonder what the original Suno would do in this situation, even though she knows she can't ask her. But she is just curious about it sometimes. She gets the flashback of the day when she was first created. Back then, she didn't want to join a children's playdate at any cost. She asked her replica to take her place at the community center and do makeup with Richen. Following the instructions, the replica was dressed identically to her and then went to the community center. The original Sunao has explained to her how, even though they look identical, the new entity is called a replica. This was the reason that despite being similar in their physical and biological level, there was a significant difference when it came to their sense of distance. Every time she was born as a replica, she had new memories from Sunao's life. When she reads the novel, it makes her feel the same way when she is looking into the original Sunao's memories. Any event that has a strong impact on Sunao's life feels like reading a well-organized and structured text, while the letters that are distorted are very difficult to read. For her, the memories that are based on her emotions, like the things that make her happy or sad, are very clear. The only things that she can't fully understand are those that the original Sunao doesn't like very much. As time passed and the school year started nearing its end, she realized how she was failing badly in her class. Seeing her worried about the studies, the replica asked if she wanted her help, and the original Sunao instantly agreed, telling her to take a test in her place. The routine continues as the replica Sunao has made up with Sunao's friend after she fought with them. She took tests in her place and gave good results. She went mountain climbing, ran marathons, and even participated in the shuttle run test. It is only for Sunao that she exists in this world, and everything she does is for her original identity. Despite being a replica, she has all the basic needs of a human, like feeling hungry or sleepy. But whenever Sunao said, "That's enough," she would disappear. This was why Sunao didn't care much about her well-being, and she never got a chance to eat breakfast. Most of the time, she eats lunch and even gets sweet if Sunao was feeling generous, but she never had dinner. She never once celebrated her birthday, and she doesn't even know that she likes those daily Fura cake rice seasoning packets. The original Sunao despised exercising and didn't have any interest in studying. But her replica has come to like both of the things. If Sunao wasn't the way she is now, there was no reason for her replica to be here. The next day, when replica Sunao goes to her club room, she finds Richen sitting on the chair with her head on the table while sweating profusely. She mumbles a reply to Sunao's good morning and then says how if they had money, she would buy a new phone for their club. She continues that it will be very difficult for them if they request help from the school, and then asks if they should make a plan for tackling the club expense. Since Sunao is just a replica, she never received any kind of money. As a child, she unexpectedly got some cash by helping out with cleaning and laundry, which was the only time she had money without stealing it from anyone. Oblivious to her internal monologue, Richen continues how she went to the electronics store to find a cheap fan, and the cheapest one will be 1,000 yen. Sunao was surprised to hear the low price, instantly calculating how she just needs 10 coins of 50 yen to bear the half expense of the fan. She is trying to figure out the conversion rate of 50 coins when there is a knock on the door. They are both surprised by the unexpected visitor, but tell the person to come inside. Sunao is startled to see Sanada-kun walking in, so when he says that he wants to join the club, she stupidly asks who he is talking about. He repeats that he himself wants to join the club, asking if they have any conditions for joining their club, and if they don't let any new people join their club. Sunao struggles to come up with a proper reply, but Richen saves her as she quickly comes forward, saying that they warmly welcome anyone who wants to join the club. She tells him that only 2 members are in this club and then asks Nao Senpai to fill out the admission form for her. She follows the order quickly, but is so nervous that she forgets about the place of admission forms until Richen points to the shelf where the forms are. After putting in some effort, she finally finds the admission form and nervously hands it to Sanada. They both sit around a table as he fills out his admission form and is formally welcomed into the club by Richen. Later that day, Sanada and Sunao go to submit the form to their professor but don't find her. Sunao suggests that they should just put the form on the table, and as they are doing so, other teachers glare at them harshly. Both of them quickly leave the room, and Sunao nervously apologizes for disturbing them. She is still feeling a little shaken, but Sanada doesn't say anything about it and instead asks if she is awkward with them going to the library for a short while. Soon both of them are standing in the library as Sunao asks her classmate if he likes books. Sanada casually replies that they are fine. Sunao starts telling him how in the club, she mostly reads books with Richen, the other girl at the club who is also writing her own novel. She regularly reads the novel that Richen is writing and gives her feedback on the story. Listening to her explanation, Sanada is a little concerned about how he never tried writing anything in his life and is wondering if this is something they have to do in the club. Sunao quickly assures him that there is no such competition at their club, and Riken just independently sends her novels to literary competitions. She further explains that they publish a club journal for the cultural festival, and last year they only printed a snippet of her opinion on the literature. Normally they publish novels, poems, journalism, and essays in their journal. Once she finishes her explanation, Sanada comments how she looks very invested in her club activities, even though she looks like the girl who always visits the gym just to drool at the guys. Nervously scratching her head, Sunao replies that he is not entirely wrong. Sanada doesn't comment on it further and instead asks what book she is looking for. Sunao suggests that they should instead find a book for him to read, and Sanada instantly agrees with her, even asking for recommendations. At her question, Sanada tells her that he doesn't have any preferences. Sunao instead asks if he has been inspired by any poem or story in his Japanese language book, adding how people without any aspiration are stupid. Realizing her mistake, she quickly clarifies that she has read this in a story, and it was from Natsume Soseki's Komoro. She finally finds the book she was searching for and gives it to him so he can read it, requesting him to share his opinion about the book with her. After selecting the book, they return to the club room, where Riken welcomes them with the news that their fan broke. She looks devastated as she complains about how they are going to die because of the excessive heat. Both the girls are mourning over the loss of a fan when Sanada offers that he can bring a fan. They can't believe his words until he repeats that they have a spare fan at home and he can bring it here. Finally coming out of her shock, Riken says how he is a lifesaver, but she is still a little concerned. Once Sanada assures them that he has no issue bringing the fan here, Sunao sincerely thanks him for helping them. He starts to blush a little as he replies that there is no need to thank him, and Sunao also starts to blush at his answer. Their moan is broken when Riken suddenly asks what they are going to do with the old fan. Since it will be considered oversized garbage, she suggests that they should tell Professor Akai about it. Sunao suggests that they should hold a memorial service for the fan, and Riken instantly agrees with her. They both sit in front of the fan, saying their last words of thank you for helping them in extreme conditions. They wish the fan a peaceful afterlife, but their prayer is interrupted when Sanada asks what they are doing. Turning toward him, they both say in unison that they are paying respect to the fan and without wasting any moment. He also bids farewell to the fan. Seeing his actions warms both of their hearts, and they officially welcome him to their literature club. The next day at home, the original Sunao is furious when she returns from school and asks the replica what is happening. When she acts oblivious, Sunao starts to get angry and asks why Sanada is suddenly talking to him about electric fans and other weird stuff that she has no idea about. The replica explains that she isn't hiding anything deliberately, and it is just that he is the new member of their literature club. Seeing Sunao's confused reaction, she further explained that she didn't know why Sanada joined the club, but he formally signed everything. After that, the fan in their club room broke, so he offered to bring a spare one from his house. She continues how the fan in the club room was very old and shares how Richen told her that they could even buy a new one at a very cheap price. Sunao is not happy with her explanation, scolding her for being too involved in all this. The replica instantly realizes that she said something inappropriate and quickly apologizes for her mistakes. She adds that she doesn't exist in reality, so as long as she is doing well at school, she is sure that Sunao will be happy. The replica is determined to try her best to make her original self happy, but instead of saying anything polite in reply, Sunao just dismisses her. The next day at school, the replica Sunao apologizes to Sanada-kun, who seems to have no idea what she is talking about. At his question, she explains that her behavior was very harsh to him, even though he has put a lot of effort into bringing them a new fan. He replies that it is not a big deal just as they enter the clubroom and see the new fan in all its glory. Sunao rushes to get the cool air from the fan while he tells her how he went to find Hironaka after classes the other day, and she opened the room for him as he brought the fan here. He further informs her that he also told Professor Akai about their broken fan, and she took it to the oversized garbage disposal. Sunao is really nervous to hear all the information from him and quickly apologizes, also saying thanks at the same time. Sanada is a little confused by her reaction, but he goes back to reading his book. After a few moments, she breaks the silence again as she tells Sanada to not talk to her outside the clubroom. Surprised by the sudden reaction, Sanada almost shouts at her, but realizes his mistake quickly and explains that he is just confused by her statement. Sunao explains that her mood has a lot of ups and downs, like the different kinds of waves, and she doesn't want him to go through the effort of dealing with her strange behavior. Sanada replies that he will handle her worst mood swings, and it won't affect him in any way, but Sunao insists that she is not comfortable talking to him. She continues that he shouldn't talk to her from now on, and if she approaches him first, he should just keep their interaction casual. Sanada replies that it will be difficult for him to understand because he doesn't know what to do if he approaches her first. At this point, she feels embarrassed, and after thinking about it for a moment, she picks up half of her hair. When Sanada asks her what she is doing, she tells him that this is called half of style, and he comments that she looks good in this style. Her blush intensifies at the compliment, but she continues the conversation, saying that he can freely talk to her when she has this hairstyle. She understands that it will be really confusing for him, but Sanada quickly adds that he was the one who asked her first. Despite the awkward situation, Sunao's heart is beating really fast. Hiding her inner feelings, she instead asks him about the book he was reading. Sanada replies that he has finished the first part of the book and will start the next one today. She then asks him about the preparation for the test, to which he replies that he didn't study anything. Sunao is surprised to hear his answer, so he tells her that it is because they say that everything will be the same if he studies or not. Their conversation is interrupted by Richen coming into the clubroom. Sunao quickly thanks her for giving the key to them, to which she replies it is fine, and then asks if she wants to get some snacks. Sunao instantly accepts the offer, and Richen then turns towards Sanada, inviting him to join them. After they finish snacking, Sunao suggests that they should start studying for the upcoming tests now. Richen says that before they start studying, she has something important to tell her. Sunao scolds her for deliberately trying to delay studying, but Richen assures her that she really has something important to discuss. She shares that she still can't decide if she should write double or doppelganger. Confused, Sanada asks what they are talking about, so Richen explains that she is writing a novel and can't decide on a nickname for some main characters, so she needs Nao Senpei's help. Sunao further explains that doppelgangers are usually the identities that instantly die when they see another person similar to them. In some cases, the stories even have happy endings, like in a story called The Little Mermaid Returns. Seeing that Sanada is still confused, she explains that The Little Mermaid Returns is a famous story about a doppelganger. This story is based in North Germany, in the year 1985, where a young lady falls into a coma after she almost drowned. Despite her being in a coma, her lover and her friend claimed that they saw her walking on the beach near her house when she should have been in the hospital. The woman walking on the beach disappeared into the ocean without saying anything, still fully dressed, and when her friends calmed down enough to look for her, they didn't find any traces of her. They say that only after 16 minutes they received a call from the hospital, informing them that the woman had woken up from her coma. After listening to the story, Sanada comments that people must have started calling her Little Mermaid at some point. Sunao keeps thinking about how the phenomenon where the soul is separated from its body is also called soul sleepwalking or a phantom illness. The incident with the woman from the story can also be the result of one of these two conditions. Mostly in such cases, when the soul returns to the body, the person's life is not in danger anymore. In her case, everything is different because her presence doesn't affect Sunao's body or soul. It makes her wonder that with the identical face to Sunao and as her replica, what can she call herself? She comes out of her thoughts when Richen says she wants to hear more motivating stories from her. Sunao scolds her, saying that she can't write these stories for her exam. Richen still doesn't get to studying, instead telling Sanada how Senpai is very intelligent and that if he needs help with anything, he can talk to her. Sanada just hums in reply, and Richen comments how he must be really immersed in reading if he is only giving a one-word reply. Noticing Sunao's glare, she sheepishly says that she will also start studying and only goes to look at her books when Sunao snatches the novel from her hands. Later they all take their tests of English-Japanese history and are back to their literature room, where Sunao asks Richen about her tests. She looks really exhausted as she replies that the test is just rubbish. Their conversation is interrupted when Sanada suddenly asks if they are not allowed to take the library books on school trips. In reply to this statement, Sunao says that it is because the book can be ruined and they also have to leave early in the morning for these trips. She suggests that he can wait for now and continue reading his book when they are back. Before he can say something in reply, Richen asks him if he is allowed to go on the trip since he didn't study even a word. Sanada tells her that he just needs to attend all of his classes to pass the year. Richen is not happy with his answer, but the topic changes as Sunao asks if the juniors had their trip in May. Richen tells them that they went on a steam train in Kauai and then asks about their trip location. Instantly getting excited, Sunao tells her that they are going to Hamamatsu Flower Park and Hamamatsu Zoological Garden as they are right next to each other. She adds that they will also go on a sightseeing boat tour. Seeing her excitement, Riken advises her to be careful because she might fall from the overboard because of her excitement. Her statement instantly offends Sunao, who replies that she will not fall over as she is not weak. Despite the assurance, Sunao's excitement again skyrockets when Riken tells her that they can also catch oysters in Lake Hamena. Riken further tells her that this thing is known as okikaki, and people even cultivate their own oysters. Wanting to gather all the information, Sunao asks if they can borrow the equipment, and Riken is surprised to find that she is planning to catch oysters. When she insists that she will do it at any cost, Riken informs her that they can only catch oysters in winter. Confused, Sunao mumbles if winter has already arrived since she really thought it was still summer. Their conversation is interrupted when Sanada suddenly bursts out laughing. As they both look at him in surprise, he comments that they are both very funny. Sunao is nervous at his comment, but Riken takes it as a compliment, telling Nao Senpai how they make a great duo. The junior instantly suggests that they should conquer the world together and asks for a good name for their duo. They start discussing the possible name, wanting to include something that represents each one of them, while Sanada just continues to laugh at their antics. Later that day, he and Sunao are sitting around a table, discussing the school trip when he asks if they can talk now. She replies that it is awkward to talk since she is wearing her half hair up. Sunao seems satisfied with their new settlement because she feels like her self-consciousness is disappearing. Even though she is just a replica, living to fulfill in place of Sunao, she is happy in the moments when she can act as a separate identity. Her happiness doesn't last long, and soon she is punished for her mistakes. After the day of a school trip, the replica asks Sunao about the school trip, to which the girl casually replies that the weather was very hot. Her expressions turn grim as she mumbles how the original Sunao should have let her go on the trip. She doesn't say anything out loud, just thinking about how she really wanted to go on the trip. When she goes back to school the next day, she approaches Sanada and casually comments how the school trip was really fun. He replies that it wasn't very enjoyable because he didn't get a chance to talk. When she asks who he is talking about, Sanada replies that it is about a girl with a specific hairstyle. He then comments on how she is wearing the said hairstyle today and asks if she wants to go on a trip with him. Sunao is surprised to hear the offer, but she instantly agrees with him, already feeling excited. Without wasting any time, they both leave the classroom as Sunao realizes how this is the first time she is skipping school. She has spent all of her time acting as Sunao and betraying people close to her. Usually at this time, she would be sitting in the gym filling for Sunao. But today is different. Today she is just her. Once they both step out of the school, Sanada asks her where they should go, and just then Sunao realizes that she doesn't have any money. He offers to pay for her, but she refuses to accept the offer and just tells him to wait for a bit while she grabs the money from her house. He asks her where her house is, and while running away, she replies that it is near Mokimune Station, which means she will be back in an hour. Before she can really run away from there, Sanada grabs her bag and says that he will go with her. He adds that they can borrow his friend's bike, which is usually unlocked, and this way they will be back quickly. Sunao is really surprised to hear that he has friends, to which Sanada replies that they are not much but are enough for him. As they walk towards the bike stand, Sunao asks if he will be able to pedal with his leg, and Sanada quickly assures her that he will be ok. Soon they are both riding their respective bikes, and Sunao confesses how this is the first time that she skipped the class. Sanada tells her that he is also skipping for the first time and then asks where they should go. At Sunao's suggestion, they both agree to visit the zoo, while Sanada is thinking about how, at first, he thought he would be scared to hear a voice lower than his father's, but now it doesn't feel so bad.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.